William here with Patriot Containers. The title of this video is how cargo container brokers and companies that sell containers, how they operate and most likely how they get started. Let me start this video off with telling you how I got into this industry. 13 years ago, Obama was the president and I couldn't find a good job for the life of me. Every job I got didn't pay well, and I'm not the type to stick around if they don't pay well. So I had a buddy call me and he goes, "Hey, what are you doing for work?" I said, "Nothing. It's just crappy companies I'm working for." And he goes, "Well, I'm selling cargo containers. You want to try it?" And my first question was, do they pay well? And the answer was yes. So I started selling containers for about 2 years for companies that I did not know they were bad when I first started, but as time goes on, you realize that everything that this company is doing to their customers was bad. And I've always wanted to own my own business and not work for somebody. And of course, you want to make as much money as possible. So I had an opportunity to work for a third company and I chose not to. And I chose to start a cargo container company based off of the right reasons. I wanted to do with what was told to the customer, so there was no misleading, there was no bait and switch. And I've been doing that for 11 years. So the reason I said that is I didn't just one day say, "Oh, I'm going to own a cargo container company," and then start one. I had to work for bad companies first and then figure out with what to correct so I can do it better. And that's what Patriot Containers does. I don't have any employees. But what I do is probably 1% of what cargo container companies are the opposite. So there's always been competitors. There's always been cargo container companies. They come, they go. Some companies put themselves out of business. Some companies have such a bad online reputation that they can't make sales and they have to change their name. Some companies get flushed out by the competitors and they can't survive. A lot of the companies that I'm about to talk about now, I used to work for companies like that. So I know exactly what they do. What usually happens is you have an employee that used to be working for another company. And maybe there's some turmoil. Maybe that employee knows, "Hey, I'm making this company a ton of money and I can do this for myself." And so what happens is that employee usually leaves and starts a business. 99% of cargo container companies are brokers. They just are, okay? They'll tell you they're not, but they really are. They have to purchase at this price, they have to sell it at this price, and there's a delivery price, and whatever else is involved is how they run their business. 95% of companies that buy containers, they pick up from one location, it gets loaded on a truck, and then it goes straight to the customer. It does not go to their operation. So when you have an employee that says, "I'm going to go do this on their own," 95% of companies do with what I'm about to tell you. They start a business and they hire salespeople. So salespeople make commissions. So you have a business owner up here, you have all the salespeople down here, they're making commissions, they're making the money, they make the sales, and then the order after the sale is no longer in the salesperson's hands or their computer. It's off to the next department. I was thinking about the title of this video. I'm convinced that pretty much any company that has salespeople is lying to you and they have a ton of complaints. You got an owner up here that's not involved in their business. They started a business so they don't have to be involved. They don't have to deal with the problems. They have employees to deal with everything, so they don't have to deal with it. So when you have a company like that, and most companies are exactly like that, they have 90% salespeople and only 10% employees. and they can't do anything right because of too many sales coming in all at once. The real problem though is salespeople aren't purchasing your containers. Salespeople aren't scheduling your containers. So the salespeople are allowed to say with whatever it takes to make a sale, and then the order is off to the next department. Maybe it's logistics, maybe it's purchasing, however they run their business. But if you read into these types of companies that have sales agents, nowadays you guys got companies where people get jobs off of Facebook and they're sitting at home while they're babysitting their kids, selling you a cargo container that they've never even touched in their life. They haven't touched a container in their life. They're closers, work from home, make commissions. We have a system that works for our sales and our company, but most of the time companies like that don't have a system that benefits their customers. So no matter what the problem is that the salesperson told you that you're experiencing as a buyer, it then goes to somebody else, and then somebody else, and then somebody else, up until A, you cancel, B, you get a container someday, C, hopefully you like it, and then if there's any problems, there's all different employees to deal with your problems, or they run away from their problems. So, I'm convinced any company that has sales agents is probably going to do a shitty job for you. Sorry, it's probably true. Now, these types of companies that have owners that they're not in the mud, they're not in the trenches, they don't care. They only care about the money coming in. And so I guess the difference here, and again, I hate tooting my own horn, but I'm going to tell you why their system doesn't work for their customers, but why my system does. So I started a business, because I didn't want to work for bad companies anymore. I didn't want to rip people off anymore. My intentions were good. Of course I wanted more money. I was making $100 commission on every container I sold when I worked for other companies. Now I make profit. So I'm making 5 to 6 to 7 times more money than I ever used to. But here's the difference. I don't have any employees. I don't. The only person to talk to at Patriot Containers is me. And so I guess let me go back in time. When I first started my business, my dream was to offer a good service and then have a sales crew and be a big company. Here's the problem with that. Salespeople don't work they work for the company, but they work for their paychecks. They don't work for the customer. They don't care about the customer. They care about the sale and they care about commissions. They want to do with whatever it takes to make a sale. I don't. So a lot of customers call and they say, well, we want wind and watertight. You've been trained to ask for that. You don't want a container with holes. So a salesperson goes, okay, wind and watertight. Well, a business owner like myself that has to buy it, I have to schedule it, I have to deliver it. I know you're going to complain about that. Well, who do I transfer you to? Nobody. I have to hear about it. These other companies that have 90% sales agents, those business owners do not have to deal with the problems. They have designed a system that benefits the company and the salespeople only, and then screws over their customers. Well, Patriot Containers doesn't do that. So, yes, I always wanted salespeople, but here's the problem. Imagine telling your salespeople that you can't sell cheap junk, and you have to educate your customer with what it is, what it isn't, and you're limiting a salesperson by what they can sell. They're not going to last long, but they're just going to go work for some other company that's going to pay them to sell shitty containers. And that's exactly how these other companies are. So with my business, and again, I don't want to toot my own horn, but there's a difference. My story of how I got into the cargo container is the same. I used to work for crappy companies. I wanted more money. I wanted to do the right thing. But I also wanted my customers, and by the way, I get to choose my customers. They have to choose me, but I also get to choose my customers too. So I deal with a lot of people every single day that I choose not to sell to because I don't want the problems. And usually the problem is not me having a problem, it's the customer having a problem, and then I have to deal with it because I'm in the trenches, because I do all my own work. That's why you get a better service from me versus a salesperson. And I started a business to actually do something right in an industry that doesn't do anything right for you guys at all. And all these other companies, they started a business to let's hire a ton of salespeople. Who cares about if the customers are unhappy, and just commissions and profit, commissions and profit. And it basically, I've said this in my videos before, and I hate repeating myself, but in my videos I repeat myself all the time. You have two types of ways of looking at this. We all sell containers, unless you're a scam and then you steal people's money and then you don't even sell a container at all. That's a scam. But there's shitty companies and then there's good companies. Shitty companies offer a sales process. They offer a close. They offer sales techniques to make your sale, but everything on the back end of their business is just totally screwed up. What Patriot Containers does is we sell containers, or it's me and my wife. We sell containers, but we offer a package behind it. And I have the same price as everybody else. The only difference though is some of these companies that are significantly cheaper, it's not because they're selling you the same container that I'm selling you. It's because they're selling you a lower class crappy container, and they will do whatever it takes to make a sale. I won't. If you want a lower class crappy container, call those companies. Go ahead and let them take your money, and then you can leave a complaint because they only offered you a sale, but they did not offer you a package behind it. Their company is designed as a failure in the very beginning. All they are is 90% sales and 10% employees, and they offer a sales process. Well, I offer you a whole service of telling the truth, purchasing good containers, showing up on the right day, and also 100% perfect honesty communication from the beginning to the very end. These other companies don't do that. Their business isn't designed for that. It's designed for sales, 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 sales. They don't care about what they sell. They only care about profit and commissions. They don't care about your quality. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care if you were lied to. And yes, let me tell you what they tell you. 60 or 90-day money back guarantees, full refunds, lifetime warranty on parts, lifetime warranty on support, lifetime warranty on leaks, and a 10-year warranty on frame or structure. They all say the same crap. All it is sales pitches so they can make a sale, put you into the trap, and move on to the next sale. That's what those companies are designed for. So yeah, that's how this industry is. And it's basically true. Every company that has sales reps, they're going to have the most complaints, and you guys should investigate companies you're talking to. But yeah, that's how this industry is. And you guys got companies now that are just blatantly lying about everything, but then they steal your money, you can't get it back, and they take forever to deliver your containers, and then they purchase cheap junk that they know is going to... The reason why companies have terms and conditions on their websites is because they know they offer a shitty service, and they have to protect themselves from the way they sell their containers to you because of the sales reps. So yeah, basically any company that has sales reps, probably a bad company. That's my, it's the things that I'm saying, it's not 100% true, but it's like 98% true of how this is how cargo container companies are. They have an owner that wants to start a business. They hire a bunch of salespeople, and they just start making money, and they don't give a shit about their customers or when it gets there, what condition it's in, and they offer the worst service in the cargo container industry. And it's that's how this industry is. It sucks. It's getting worse. That's why I started making these videos. But I can drag this on forever, guys. You all have a good one. And that's it. Have a good one. Goodbye.